Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay and Happy Holidays. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with the final part of our 2022 holiday special. And it is the big one. We are reacting to from the 1940s Miracle on 34th Street, the original in black and white. So, this is the Christmas movie. Like, when people think of Christmas movies, there's a lot of movies, obviously, they'll think of. But this is the big one. This is kind of the quintessential Christmas film that tops all the lists, even to this day. And even its remake from the 90s just never reached the same popularity as this original. Now, obviously, my opinions aren't always the same as everyone else's, but I'm hoping that in this case it is. There's been a lot of classic movies, both from this era and later, of course, that people have raved about and said were amazing and on, that I also found as such. A lot of movies that people would put on their lists of greatest of all time that, admittedly, I was skeptical about. Stuff like The Green Mile, even. But this, again, in terms of Christmas movies, this is like the pinnacle for a lot of people. Like, there will be some people, of course, who will have never seen it. Because this movie came out, let's see, like 80 years ago. This movie came out like 80 years ago. It's almost 100 years old. So there's going to be a lot of people who have never seen this. And so, of course, it wouldn't be on their lists. They would have more recent stuff. Stuff like Elf and whatnot. Which, by the way, is great too, but there's a lot of older movies that, in my opinion, should be seen. And that's the thing. I've never seen this. Despite it being the quintessential Christmas film, despite the fact that I've seen a lot of holiday films throughout my life, this is one of the ones I've just never seen. Just like with Scrooged, it's always just kind of flew past my radar. And for a lot of my life, part of the reason was its age. There was a time where I was not really fond of the idea of checking out films that old. Honestly, it was 12 Angry Men when I first saw that in school, in high school. That really changed my mind on things, and with that, I started to become more willing to check out older films. But I still never checked this out. Because there were still other Christmas films I had never seen and ended up checking out those before. But now we are finally getting to this. So, what do I know about this movie? Practically nothing. I know it's like from the 40s, I think 43 specifically, if I remember right. I did look it up, but I can't remember. I think it's 43. I know based on, like, I've seen, like, the cover art and everything, the poster art, is like a little kid sitting with a Santa. Does not tell me much of anything. The title, Miracle on 34th Street, obviously something miraculous is going to happen on 34th Street. Something that is extremely unexpected and seemingly impossible. Something that changes people's perception of the world around them and the people within it, maybe. Something like that. That's really all I can presume from this. It's one of those films that really doesn't tell you anything. Or by its title and, poster and everything. I probably don't know much of any of the actors in it, to be fair. Because I don't know a lot of the actors from that time. There's only a couple, and Unless any of the ones from 12 Angry Men are also in this, I probably don't know them. And I don't even, like, I wouldn't even know the names of most of the jurors from 12 Angry Men. I'd only know, like, a couple of them, like Martin Balsam, or is it Balsam? I think it's Balsam. He was also in Psycho, by the way. Um, but yeah, it's like I wouldn't recognize everyone from that era of movies because I didn't watch a lot of that era of movies. Like, I've seen a couple things. That's it. So, yeah, I really don't know what to expect here. I don't know how festive it's going to be. I don't know, like, what the overall tone and themes it's going to go with are because there's a lot of different themes that you could go for with a Christmas film. Stuff like family or, the real reason of Christmas and all of that. There's a lot of different things. And a lot of different Christmas movies have covered all of that. So, this is an earlier one. I don't know if this is... I don't think this is the first Christmas movie. I don't think so. I very much doubt it. In fact, I could probably look that up real quick. Let me see. I'm actually curious. What is the first Christmas movie? No, I do not mean the movie called The First Christmas. Here, let me try this. The first ever Christmas movie. Maybe that'll help. The first known Christmas movie and the first ever on-screen appearance of Kris Kringle was in 1898's Santa Claus, a 2-minute film from the UK at the very dawn of the film era. That was just when movies were literally just getting started. So, wow. Christmas movies have existed pretty much as long as film itself. That's pretty wild. And yeah, of course, films back at that time were only like 2 minutes long because they were just getting into it. Like feature length stuff did not come till later. But in 1898, 2-minute film. That's wild. That was the first ever Christmas movie. That's pretty insane. But yeah. I wonder how much of that 2 minutes is credits and stuff, though, to be fair. That's wild to think about. But even so, even though, like, that came out, like, 50 years before this movie, it's like, without question, this is still kind of the quintessential. And It's a Wonderful Life is another one of the big ones you think about with holiday films. But it's like, when people think of Christmas movies, this is the big one. And I've never seen it. I've never known why. I don't know the reasoning for that. And I liked It's a Wonderful Life. I thought it was a great movie. Like, I really genuinely liked that movie. I've seen it a couple times now since I first reacted to it as well. Because I saw, I think, a couple other people's reactions to it too. And, yeah, it's a good movie. So I'm hoping that this one's going to be good too. Also, I think you might have just heard a Discord thing. I apologize for that. But yeah, I have Discord up. But yeah. Either way. Yeah, this is the end of our holiday special, though. And obviously this is being posted on Christmas. So for those who celebrate, Merry Christmas. For those who don't, who celebrate another holiday or just don't celebrate much of anything this year, I hope you're having a great winter season nonetheless. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa, Yule. I just hope you're having a good time, no matter what you celebrate, and again, even if you don't. But yeah, so I do want to talk about like the plans for the future in regards to these Halloween and holiday specials and all. I want to talk about it briefly here in the pre-thoughts because I want the afterthoughts to mostly focus on my thoughts on the film and everything, and to just kind of close out this holiday special. So I'm going to try to be brief about it here. I don't know if we're going to continue doing the weekly Halloween and holiday specials like this. Because it's like, it's definitely been a notable thing in the past years doing this. Since I started doing, like, you know, the weekly thing, a different movie each week and all. But it's become really apparent this year. It takes a lot out of me. Like, physically, mentally, and just in terms of, you know, getting other stuff recorded. It takes a lot out of me. And it takes up a lot of time that I could be doing other stuff. And we also, this year, did a holiday mega stream on top of that. So what I'm thinking, maybe starting in next year, starting 2023, maybe we'll do a mega stream and a single special for both Halloween and the holidays. We'll do a single special, which will probably be a movie still. But it'll just be one. And I think that's a better way to maybe handle it. Because admittedly, again, just doing a movie every single week on top of, like, you know, other donation reward movies I'm doing, just the other reactions I'm trying to do, and just everything else, it's too much for me to handle. And I'm thinking I'm probably not going to want to do it again. So it kind of sucks, admittedly. But this might be the final Halloween/holiday special where we do have the weekly thing. And mind you, anything can change in that time. There's a long time to go until we get to that point again. Maybe by that point we'll be doing our schedule a little different on the channel to the point where I can handle that better. I don't know. But maybe it would actually be worse at that time. I don't know. So I think the best idea is to let you know right now that we might be moving away from this kind of format for the Halloween and holiday specials. Starting next year, we might go to just doing the stream and a single movie. But we'll see. We have a long time to worry about that. And we'll figure out what works best at that time. But no matter what we end up deciding, there will always still be a Halloween and a holiday special. That will always happen, no matter what. So let's just get this this reaction started and hope for the best as we close out 2022's holiday special. And hopefully this movie does live up to all of the hype that I've seen with it. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the links to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode, or to the movie, rather. So, excuse me, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all. What am I doing? I'm doing the wrong sign off. Great holiday special video. I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I was doing a little research after the reaction and before this, and one of the things I found out was apparently the actress who played the young girl, Natalie Wood, passed away at a very young age. She had a lot of, it seems like a terrible incident occurred when she was younger, and her death is surrounded in mystery. And I'm not going to take too long talking about this because it's really sad, and I don't want to muddle up these afterthoughts during Christmas about that. But the scenario surrounding her young life and death is really, really sad, and it's terrible what she was put through, and the fact that her life was ended so soon, so young. But I wanted to mention that because it was something I found while looking things up here. And because during this reaction I noted multiple times how great of a young actress she was. How, despite her young age, being under 10 years old, she honestly really owned this film. Her expressions, her performance, everything was so believable. She was so charismatic. And while she had done other films in her career, including Brainstorm with Christopher Walken, which is what she was working on when she passed, it's really sad to know that she died way before her time. And it's really sad to know how much more she could have done in her career if it weren't for that. So it's really depressing, and I know a sad way to start off these afterthoughts, but I just wanted to mention it. And I want to say that she was the star of this film. More so than any of the other actors or actresses who all did a great job. That little girl made this movie for me. And she died way too young. And she deserved a full, happy, and very respected life and career. So that all being said, let's talk about this movie. Like I said in the pre-thoughts, Miracle on 34th Street is considered the quintessential Christmas film. It is considered the big one. Even though it wasn't the first, people look back on it nowadays and consider it, like, again, the Christmas movie. Above all others, this is the one that fully gets the holiday. And I think that just like with a lot of movies out there, I think a lot of the crowd is like over-exaggerating a little bit there. Like, they act like this is God's gift to holiday films, and honestly, I think I like other holiday films more. But that being said, this is one of the best. I don't think it's the best necessarily, and I don't think it's as good as everyone loves to say. But it's up there. And the performances were definitely a big part of that. Again, Natalie Wood as this young girl was fantastic. The actress who played her mother, great. The actor who played the lawyer and boyfriend, I guess you could say, of the mother. The actor who played Kris Kringle. Even the one who played the terrible, disgusting psychologist guy. Even he did a good job at his role. Everyone did a genuinely good job. But it's also the story about a nice man who claims to be the real Santa and ends up getting falsely accused of mental illness and put on trial, all because he dared bring hope to people, because he dared spread Christmas cheer. And so the question that this movie begs to ask is Santa Claus real? Not just is this specific man Santa Claus, but is Santa Claus real? And without the slightest hesitation, without the slightest bit of irony or anything, I say without question, 100% Santa Claus is real. Maybe not a specific person who flies over the world in one night. But you see these kids, you read their letters, you see the hope and the love in their eyes when they open those presents on Christmas morning. The excitement they get when they look inside their stockings. The pure glee of writing a list to Santa. How can you say Santa's not real? Santa is real in every little kid out there who needs him to be. He is real in the spirit of this holiday. The kindness, the generosity, the love of this season. While there may not be a Kris Kringle, a Saint Nicholas of this time period, because technically Saint Nicholas did exist, but who is immortal and flies in a sled with reindeer all over the world. He is real. Without question. And every interpretation of him is real. Because the kids and everyone who believes finds him real in their hearts. And so you see a movie like this, and it asks that question. It asks that question. You see the other side, the prosecution, argue at first that Santa can't be real. But you see time and time again throughout this film how the Christmas spirit proves them wrong, both before and after that argument's even made. It's a great, fantastic representation of the cheerfulness of this season. And the meaning behind it is strong. The messaging, the theming is strong and meaningful. And it really hits in all the proper ways. You see characters throughout this film, even ones who aren't altogether super important to the plot. Like this young 17-year-old kid who dresses up as Santa to give presents to people, yet is accused of being mentally ill and having guilt issues simply because he wants to help and give back. And you see how by the end he finds that excitement and that joy getting to be Santa and getting to meet someone like Mr. Macy. You see this little girl who's raised in a very practical, just realist household. who doesn't believe in Santa. You see her start to believe more and more as she just spends time with Chris, as she sees the kindness and gentleness and love that he exudes. You see her mother, the one who raised her to be like that, also start to come to terms with it. Afraid to at first, and even having a little bit of a moment where she gets really intense about it. But eventually coming to terms with it and acknowledging that she believes too. And you see this lawyer, a neighbor, a friend, who comes to his defense, comes to Chris's defense, and proves to himself, to the court, to the world watching, that this man is Santa. This movie is 80 years old. This movie is almost 3 times my age. It holds up. While it has one moment in the movie that I honestly feel is entirely out of place and feels really weird and also a little unsettling and upsetting, with that being the maid, the maid of color and everything, which it's like we never see her again. Nothing is ever mentioned about that kind of thing again. It's literally once. That's the only thing in this movie that did not age well, for obvious reasons. Everything else ages perfectly. Watching this in 2022, even in black and white, obviously with less impressive visuals, I guess you could say, less impressive audio, it still holds up. It's funny, it's charming, it's beautiful, and it gives a message that faith is what happens when your common sense can't make sense of something. That faith is believing despite what that common sense will tell you. And that faith that we see in children every Christmas proves that Santa exists. And it proves that hope exists. That this kind of positivity, this kind of kindness, this kind of love can be shared by anyone, no matter what their age, no matter what time of year. That doesn't only have to be a Christmas thing. We often associate this time of year with this kind of stuff, with being more kind and more generous and more helpful and loving and whatnot. But this can be done at any time of year. And I challenge you. I challenge all of you watching this. In 2023, spread Christmas cheer all year long. Spread this kind of spirit, this kind of hope, this kind of love the entire year. And not just to people you know, not just to your family and friends, but to strangers. To people you'll never see again. Be a light in this world. Because if we won't, who will? We have to be that hope, that love. we have to make that a reality. This movie is really damn good. I don't know exactly where I would rank it among my holiday films. I'll have to think about that more. Probably watch a review or two, maybe even a reaction or two. Um, but it really moved me. I was invested in the characters, in the plot, in the trial itself. When I realized what they were going to do with the letters, I got super excited. I got angry at the psychologist. Everything like was telling me that this was a movie that I was invested in completely. I mean, the hour and a half went by in no time flat because I was so into it. And yes, are there movies made nowadays that are technically more well put together in terms of pacing and storytelling and whatnot? Sure. But this movie does something a lot of modern movies, just in my opinion, doesn't do. It just captures that childlike wonder at watching a story on the screen just absolutely light up for you. A lot of modern movies can't do that. There are some that do, but a lot can't. As good as they even are, they don't light up like that. They just don't have that same feeling to them. There are a few holiday movies I watch pretty much every year. Jingle All the Way, Elf, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Well, this might just have to be one of them. This might have to be a tradition for me. And maybe I'll eventually see the remake and see how that stacks up. But no matter what the case, this movie was truly a Christmas miracle. I'm laughing because it's so fucking cheesy. I was going through that in my head, and I'm like, I know I'm about to say it, but the instant I say it, I just start laughing. It's so cheesy, but I mean it. I do. I'm being serious, but at the same time, it's like I can't help but laugh at that. It was really good. I really, really love this. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And thank you for tuning in to the final part of the 2022 holiday special. Like I said in the pre-thoughts, I don't know if we're going to continue doing the entire movie a week thing for future Halloween and holiday specials. And maybe not, possibly not, even probably not. But whatever the case may be, we have a long time to worry about that. There will still always be a holiday special. There will still always be a Halloween special. That's still going to happen no matter what. And I hope that no matter what you celebrate at this time of year, whether it be Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Yule, or even if you don't celebrate anything, that no matter what you do during this time of year, I hope that you have a very happy holiday season. I hope that your winter season is filled with light and hope and love. And that even if the season has some sadness for you, or even some anger, or other emotions that make this time of year hard, I hope that despite that, you can find joy and happiness at this time. Thank you so much, once again, for tuning in. The holiday special may be over, but again, we don't have to stop at just this time of year. Let's spread the love and light in 2023, all year long. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.